Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Justin, and welcome to another fun-filled episode of Shiplife.
Let's go!
So, before I get off into today's episode, I do have to take a little time out to thank each and every one of you because I have done something that I never thought was possible. I have reached 5,000 subscribers. And it's because of you and you guys alone that I was able to do this. So now my next goal is to hopefully, fingers crossed, reach 10 within the next couple months. But, I guess we'll see how that goes. But seriously, guys, thank you. Also, with that being said, if you guys haven't already, please go ahead and give my new Shiplife Instagram a follow as well. I decided to create that because my Shiplife series was doing so well here on YouTube. Go ahead and give that a follow right now. And hurry up and do so because this month I am doing a giveaway for a free Shiplife t-shirt along with $50 cash, alright? So make sure you guys jump on that. And I've already told my people on Instagram my prizes will probably get bigger as time goes on as I build a following. So go ahead and make sure you guys follow that one as well. I'm going to leave a link right here somewhere, all right, in this general area. Can't really say for sure. It's going to be around there somewhere, all right? Go ahead and follow that. I will also leave it in the description below. All right, with that said, on to today's episode. Today we are going to be talking about what it is like being on a cruise ship during a storm in the middle of the ocean. I'm going to be going over what it's like for crew, what the protocol is, and pretty much what the whole experience is like. So, stay tuned and enjoy another episode of Shiplife. Okay, so let's talk storms at sea. So, I'm going to be breaking this video down into 3 parts. Number 1, we are going to be talking about what it's like for the crew. What is the expectation for the crew as far as how to deal with being on board a cruise ship when there is a storm, or what we like to call rocky seas. I'll be going over that and the protocol in the event that, let's say, a crew member is just not up for being out and about and working while the ship is rocking or while we're in a storm. Part number 2 will be about things that I have personally seen and experienced while working aboard the cruise ship in the middle of a storm. Alright, so I gotta leave the best for last for part number 3. In part number 3, we are going to be talking about what happens in extreme emergencies. Let's say the ship gets so bad by the storm or the kraken or whatever to the point that we have to evacuate. I'll be going over what the procedure is for that because we did talk about that in our safety meetings. Along with that, I'll be telling you guys about a story that I was told, something that happened to my personal friends after my contract concluded on my ship. A few months after my contract was done and over with, by the way, I worked on the 5th largest ship in the world. My ship actually tipped over 45 degrees due to a storm. My friends were at the crew bar, so I'll be telling you about that story and what went down there. I'm sure you guys have probably heard about it. So, stay tuned. So getting into part 1, what is the expectation for crew on board during a storm? Alright, so I'm going to start off by saying this. For all the people that are curious about working on a cruise ship, or the ones that have already filled out the applications that want to work on a cruise ship, put in your mind that you are not on land. Understand where you are going and what you are about to do. When working aboard a cruise ship, you will be expected to work, even in the middle of a storm. And that is a fact. On top of that, if you are a crew member that happens to work in guest areas, you have to be able to act like nothing is wrong whatsoever. Why do you ask? Because for the guest, you are supposed to be creating their ideal vacation, the perfect vacation for them where nothing can happen, nothing can go wrong. They're at a place where they can relax and not worry about a thing. Even when it comes to the entertainment department, nobody is exempt from doing the work when it comes to a rocky ship or when there's a storm while on board in the middle of the ocean. All right? You got to think about it this way. When there's a storm, it falls on the entertainment department to distract the guests when it's not exactly ideal conditions. All right. So me being a professional breakdancer and acrobat, it was a little difficult because I was still obligated and I still had to perform and do all my backflips and head spins and all that other good stuff. The only exception would be is if the ship was rocking so bad that it was almost impossible. In any case, we would try to get the show out as best as we can and give it the best quality that we can. So, thankfully with my contract, I was able to get stunt and hazard pay, but I was still obligated. I still had to do the show. It still went down. So no one is exempt. You have to know what you're signing up for. Now, getting seasick is obviously a valid excuse, which actually takes me into part number 2. When it comes to the things that I've experienced on the ship, I have seen a lot of people get seasick. Now, personally, I have never gotten seasick. I don't really have trouble with seasickness or any kind of motion sickness whatsoever. But for the people that are trying to work on the ship, that is typically a question you'll be asked as far as your interview process, if you have one. They'll ask you if you have any motion sickness or if you have a seasickness problem, anything like that, because obviously on the ship, they want you to be able to work, do your job. I've often seen people even crew complain about having to work during a storm or a rocky ship. Like I said, your job is what you're here to do. If you don't like it, don't sign up for it. But just keep that in mind, guys. Understand what you sign up for. I'll say this a whole video. Understand what you're signing up for. Also, I know it might be a little gross, but I have seen people, both guests and crew, even, getting seasick to the point where they vomit in public areas. I've seen it. It'd be crew on the I-95 on their way to work or their department or whatever they got to go do that day. I've even been in, let's say, on my ship we have what's called the garden, which was like our buffet. Honestly, I'm not gonna get too much into the story, but it got to the point to where the ship was rocking. It was pretty bad. Now, this woman, I guess it was getting to the point where it was too much for her to handle. There I was eating my chicken sandwich, which I regularly went to go eat a lot, along with some cheesecake. I really miss that cheesecake, by the way. I would go eat my cheesecake, my chicken sandwich, and sure enough, this woman comes right in front of the sink that was, I don't know, maybe a couple feet to the left of me. She just starts letting it out right then and there. It was too much for her. She couldn't handle it, but obviously on the ship, these things do happen. All right, so finally, let's get on to part number 3. What happens when there's an extreme emergency on board to the point to where we possibly even have to evacuate? When it comes to being on a giant ship in the middle of a storm, out in the middle of the ocean, we are told this in our drills that evacuation is, for obvious reasons, a last resort. Why do you ask? Because look at it this way. If there is a giant storm out in the ocean, what would you rather be on? A giant ship or tiny little tender boats in front of, I don't know, 20, 10, 80 foot tall waves? Think about it. Thankfully for us and everybody else involved, this is the technological era. So thankfully to technology, we can see things coming before they happen. And I know a couple different instances my ship encountered or was heading toward a couple different hurricanes. So what we did when we were going to Bermuda, we were going to Mexico or whatnot, we would literally either just leave early or we would change course, whatever the captain wanted, so we avoided those situations. So at the most, we got a little bit of rockiness along with some waves and maybe a little bit of bad weather like rain. Nothing too crazy. Now, unfortunately, there was a situation on my ship after I left, after my contract was concluded. My friends were still on the ship, but my ship, which is the 5th largest ship in the world, the Norwegian Escape, it did indeed flip and tilt about 45 degrees. I don't know if you guys understand, but that is a lot for a giant ship to just tip over, right? It happened in the early morning hours, middle of the night. Everybody was at crew bar having a good time, getting their drinks, and everything just kind of fell over. Now, when it came to that situation, obviously nobody was killed, thankfully, but it was a scary situation from what I understand, and a couple people were hurt. Nothing too crazy to the point where somebody had to be airlifted or had to be hospitalized or anything like that, but there were a couple, nicks and bruises. But that's the extent of what happened. But obviously, I'm sure you guys know from history's past that there has been incidences where things do happen. But that's just, in a lot of terms, and the best way I can put it, it's the nature of the beast. Moral of the story: if you're gonna go on a ship, either as a crew member or a passenger, just understand the risk. There's not too many, thankfully, because of technology these days and safety checks. But just understand that most of the time you're good. You shouldn't worry. Obviously, this is what life is about. You take risks anytime you do something. So there's nothing to fear when you're talking about being in front of a storm or whatever the case is, because usually you're good. I mean, look at me. I just did a 6-month contract straight on the ship with no breaks. And here I am, still alive and kicking. At least I think so. Alright guys, so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I really hope you guys found this enjoyable. If you guys did, please, as always, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Like I said, my account has officially hit 5K, and there are definitely bigger things on the way. So that's my Friday's episode, my Friday's installment of Shiplife. I have my Pursuit episode coming out this Sunday. Make sure you guys check that out. And of course, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please hit me up in the drop box below, or hit me in my email, which is listed below. I'm gonna get up out of here, and I will see you guys next Friday. Take it easy.